I move to strike the last word and engage in a colloquy with Chairman Edwards and Congressman Rehberg and myself.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
I'd now like to yield to my friend, the gentleman from Montana.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the gentleman for Texas for all the hard work in drafting this important piece of legislation. Beginning in 1962, the Department of Defense commenced a number of chemical and biological tests involving nearly 6,000 American military personnel. These tests, known as Project 112 and Project SHAD, exposed service members to toxic agents such as VX nerve gas, sarin nerve gas, and E. coli. Not surprisingly, many of the veterans unknowingly exposed to deadly agents are suffering from serious medical conditions. Yet for over 40 years, the Department of Defense denied the existence of these tests. All the while, these veterans continued to suffer. Finally, in 2001, DOD admitted to conducting Project 112 and Project SHAD, but they still refused to take responsibility for their care. Enough is enough. As we approach the end of this Congress, we can do our part to care for these veterans by extending an expiring provision which allows for Project 112 and Project SHAD veterans to receive care at VA facilities without proving service connection. My constituent, John Olson, a veteran of Project SHAD, spent all day Tuesday undergoing tests for a possible aneurysm. This is the latest in a long line of medical problems since leaving the service. Yet, as my friend from California will state, the VA is approving claims at an embarrassingly low rate. We can and should do everything we can to care for these veterans. And I want to thank Mr. Thompson of California for keeping this issue in front of the press, keeping this issue in front of the Congress, keeping this issue in front of the American people. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. And this time I will now yield to my colleague from California.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chairman, for all your work on this bill and all that you've done over the years for both veterans and those currently serving in the military. I value greatly all the work that you've done. But as Mr. Rehberg said, 45 years ago, the Department of Defense began more than 50 chemical and biological weapons tests on U.S. servicemen without their knowledge. The government called these top-secret tests Project SHAD. And for the next 40 years, the Department of Defense denied Project SHAD even took place. 10 years ago, I was able to prove that, in fact, they did take place. And the DOD said they only used simulants, and at no time were these veterans exposed to anything harmful. Finally, after 3 more years of work, the DOD admitted they used live and extremely dangerous agents such as VX nerve gas and sarin gas. And more alarming than the lies and the cover-up, we are not giving these veterans the care they need and deserve today. A recent Associated Press article revealed that only 6% of claims made by Project SHAD veterans and other veterans involved in these secret government tests have been accepted by the VA. That's only 39 out of 641 claims. These brave men served our country, and they served it with distinction. And in return, they were unknowingly used as human guinea pigs by their own government, and now they're denied care. The extension of treatment authority would go a long way towards increasing the VA's dismal record in helping our veterans expose these harmful agents, a record that the veteran service associations in this country have called shocking, disgraceful, and disappointing. I hope that the chairman can assure me that he'll work together with us to find the appropriate vehicle to extend this important provision.
Let me thank Mr. Rehberg of Montana and Mr. Thompson, a distinguished Vietnam veteran, for raising this important issue. I'm glad the House has taken action on this issue in another measure. I'm disappointed the other body has not. Given that fact, we could not add this provision to this bill under the rules of the House, but I will make a good faith effort to work with both of the gentlemen to address what is a serious problem. These great Americans should be honored by our actions, and I hope at the end of the day we can look them in the eye and say we have served them just as they have served our country so honorably.
We thank the gentleman from Texas.
I thank the gentleman, Mr. Edwards, and just remind everybody that these veterans are sick today. They're dying. They need the medical care that they deserve and the medical care that they earned. And I appreciate your willingness to work with us on this. I yield back the remaining.